and welcome to the How to Do Stuff in the Wilderness podcast. I'm your host, Sam Peters, and this is a podcast where we're going to be discussing how to survive in the wilderness and different kind of strategies about the wilderness and things you can do there, different kind of ways to just return to our roots, because of course as humans we are meant to be in the wild. So anyway, this is going to be a podcast where we'll be discussing all of that and just talking about how to, if you're in the wilderness, how to survive there. And so if you're in the wilderness right now, I encourage you to tune in and just learn more about your situation and what you can do there. As I said, my name is Sam Peters. I'm actually originally from New York, in the state of New York, in the United States. And I've moved here, currently located in rural Minnesota. But I'm so happy to have you guys here. It's going to be a great time, and I think we're going to learn a lot together. And so I would like to welcome my first guest of the week. He is a great expert about wilderness survival. So I'll go ahead and introduce him now. Is that our cue? Yes, I'll go ahead and introduce him now. Here is Calvin Hoffmann. And why don't you just tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are, what you do, why you're here, and just what is your interest in wilderness?
Yeah, hello everyone. To all of our beautiful listeners out there through the ether and the interweb and the internet and things. Hope you're all doing well. Like Sam kindly noted, my name is Calvin Hoffmann. Self-proclaimed, I guess, wilderness legend. There's not really like a club or like a...
Well, this guy's being modest right now. He's a great... I don't know, I think you have some sort of certification as a wilderness expert, right?
Yeah, it was an online class. Not to brag or anything, but I did finish 4th out of the entire class.
Wow, look at that.
So it was pretty great. Yeah, a little bit about me, I guess, besides some of my escapades and things like that within the wilderness sphere. I've lived here in rural Minnesota, born and raised, so lived here my whole life. Probably will continue to for the rest of my life. It's great to be close to nature.
All right, well, just enough about that. We can just move on. What do you do?
So during the day, work at Home Depot.
Oh, you work at Home Depot.
I do, yeah.
All right, that's kind of not what I was expecting, but
it's pretty hard to make a living just doing wilderness things and stuff like that.
Right. Well, I was just go on.
Yeah. So I'm actually one of the junior associates for the lumber yard. So that's kind of my day job. But by night, I'm always doing research, watching Bear Grylls, watching other YouTube people doing lots of cool things out in the wilderness. And during the summer months, especially, try to get out as much as I can. So.
And we would like to acknowledge that although there are other internet shows out there, we will kind of just be synthesizing all that information here. There's no need to consult.
And also probably doing it a lot
better. Just let me... I'm the host, all right? Just...
Sorry.
I will ask you the questions.
Okay, sorry.
That's enough. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to say. Our topic this week, or this day, I don't know how often we're going to be doing this podcast. Hopefully, maybe every day. That would be...
it's probably not going to work for me. I mean, I work a double every other Thursday, so...
All right, well, but you're not going to be... We have other guests.
Okay.
So our topic for the first episode is about how to build a fire, which if you've ever been in the wilderness, you know that is a very important skill to have. And to survive, you will need to build a fire. So anyway, we've just been compiling sort of a big list about ways to build fires and different kind of approaches, because there's a lot of experts in this field, I think, now that we've been seeing emerge. And so, when you go into the woods, there's a lot of trees, and so hopefully, you bring your axe to chop those down, or just find branches and things that there are. You can use those as kindling. That's what we call kind of the little sticks and things that we use to actually start the fire. That's just kind of a little tidbit of nature wisdom that I will impart now. I don't want to talk too much here because our guest has probably more knowledge about this than I do. So, Calvin, when you go out into the wilderness, into the woods or wherever, and you're going to build a fire, how do you get the wood that you're going to start it with?
Yeah, that's a great question. Generally, I'll take used pallets or, lumber that we're not really using anymore from work. We get a lot of pallets.
All
Pallet
right,
wood
so
is great
just go back there a second.
Yeah.
This is wood that you're bringing from work.
Yeah. Generally, I don't really like to, cut down trees and things like that.
All right. Well, but that's what you have to do if you're in the wilderness. Most people don't work at Home Depot, so.
Well, I mean, you can. Our scrap wood is pretty much open to the public. So if you're near a Home Depot, I mean, you can just go pick it up.
Well, there aren't Home Depots just in the woods.
Yeah, I mean, So in that case, I guess then you probably would want to. I mean, you're either out of luck or you have an axe or some sort of.
So can you tell us anything about getting the axe and actually chopping down the tree to get the wood?
Home Depot has some really great hatchets and some great splitting mauls and things like that in the in like the tool section. It's actually the second aisle at the store I work. The second tool aisle, we keep those. But I mean, generally,
all right. Well, if you go to Home Depot and you need an axe, you can talk to a sales associate. You don't need to know what aisle it's in. It's just boring, and we don't need to have that sort of thing on this podcast.
You did ask, so I was just trying to give the best answer I could.
Right. Well, we're talking about wilderness here, and Home Depot is not wilderness. So.
Well, I mean, if you can go to Home Depot before you go to the wilderness, so that option.
But I want to talk about this wood that we're getting. How do you get it once you have the axe? And you're out in the woods.
Well, if you're really gung-ho on, doing it all, that kind of stuff, it's an axe. Everybody's seen, Bear Grylls or other kind of, not necessarily Bear Grylls, he doesn't really have one, but, other kind of nature shows and people building things. Everybody knows how to swing an axe, is basically what I'm trying to say. So it's...
All right, well, I don't.
Oh, well, it's all in the hips. So... It's not that hard.
All right. Well, we have our expert here. Can't tell us anything about how to get the wood.
I just told you. Just got. It's not.
Use your hips.
Yeah, you use your hips to swing. It gets the most power.
That's how you get the wood.
Yeah, you swing the axe. You use your hips to kind of get.
Let's move on here. Once you have the wood, and maybe I can look up some videos about how to chop down a tree, so I can learn about that.
It's more of a visual kind of thing. You can really see that hip action.
Yeah, sure. Anyway, we're gonna move on here. We're gonna talk about how to actually start the fire, how to light the fire. Which is probably the hardest part. I think one thing that you will probably need is a newspaper, right?
Yeah, or some sort of. Generally, what I'll do is I'll get kind of like a flammable kind of fire starting material. You can just pretty much buy it anywhere. So just get something
like a newspaper.
Yeah, I guess a newspaper would work.
So go out to wherever and get a newspaper, and then once you have that in the wood, then you can actually go about making the fire. So how do you, as a wilderness expert, catch that elusive fire? How do you tame the fire? How do you start it? How do you start a fire?
Yeah, that's a pretty core part of the whole fire starting experience is actually starting it. So generally, what I'll do is bring a lighter, like a Zippo or one of those Bic lighters that's cheap piece of crap that you buy at a dollar store or whatever. You can bring those, will work. Generally, I like to go with.
And I see you brought a lighter here today.
Yep. This is my the old trusty lighter that I generally use. So.
Right. Well, we're not gonna be going into that so much. For those of you who, we don't have a camera, so you're not watching. So anyone who's listening to this, we're trying to build this fire in real time. And so my guest here has brought a lighter, which is not Not what I was expecting, but
I mean, it's the easiest way. So
right. Well, I mean, if you find yourself lost in the wilderness, you probably won't have anticipated that you would need a lighter. And unlike wood, which I will concede, that is in the wilderness and you can learn how to get that, you can't just build a lighter.
I mean, I found one of my lighters out in the park. Somebody had lost it or something. So I mean, you
but
kind of
the point is, we want to maintain the integrity of this program, and for you to just bring that in here without consulting me is just disrespectful to this program and for what we're trying to do here. So I just wish you'd had more consideration for that. I wish you'd asked me. I wish you would have talked to our producers for the show, because they could have told you that no, we actually want to see or hear about the Tinder process. Or
I haven't met anyone besides you who I met for the first time yesterday. I don't think that's what the people are here to listen to, is you kind of berating me and yelling at me.
Well, it's just
crap that you say.
Yeah, well, I'm just gonna stop you there, because this is about respecting what you're getting involved with. And I thought we were gonna be bringing on an expert, and I apologize to all our viewers or our listeners who are tuning in, because this has just kind of been a disaster, and we'll try and fix it. Next week, we will talk about how to start a fire, and we'll be bringing in all the right equipment and everything. But this week we have someone who's not even an expert who's trying to tell us about where you can get lighters and things. What I was looking for is, you see like cavemen, they use rocks and stuff to light a fire and to get the spark going. So that was kind of what I was hoping for here. And obviously we don't have that level of expertise. So we have brought in someone who is dumber than a caveman, because he doesn't know how to start a fire without using a lighter, which any person can go out to the store and get one. But if you're lost in the wilderness, you can't. You're out of luck.
If you were smart, you would have one with you, and that's kind of the point that I'm trying to make, is just be prepared. But
right. Well, there's also, you don't want to use lighters. I've read lots of things about the health risks and kind of just the nasty chemicals that they're putting in these things nowadays. There's carcinogens and chemicals and nasty, I think they're putting, I read an article yesterday actually about how these lighter companies are being sued by our federal government because they're putting nicotine in the gas or the flame that's released, and they're getting people hooked on the lighters, which is just unconscionable. And for you to be bringing that in here to poison us.
Well, I haven't heard any of that. It sounds kind of like just a load of baloney, but yeah, whatever. I guess to the audience out there, all of you people who are actually trying to get some tips, the best tip is to just be prepared, kind of know what you're getting into before you get into it.
And tune in next week so that you can know actually how to start a fire instead of using chemicals that will fry your brains, essentially. Okay, that's not... He's got a lighter in here. We need to... Can we just evacuate the premises?
It's just a lighter.
Well, there's chemicals and all sorts of things that I would not ever want to introduce into my airways and bloodstream. And can we just move this outside, because I'm having a really hard time concentrating with this thing here.
Sure. Yeah, let's move it outside, I guess. I mean,
right, well,
that's what this whole show is about, is outside and nature.
I'm getting told that we don't have anywhere outside we can go.
Well,
which is
there it is, I guess.
Disappointing, because I rented this space for a lot of money, more than I was willing to at first, and I expected that we would at least have the parking lot out back to do it in, and it's just like a shed. So I'm just disappointed in all of you, and I hope that you know that. So I guess mission failed. If you're out in the wilderness listening and trying to survive, you've probably died.
Should have just been more prepared, but
well,
what do I know?
I guess we do we have anything more to talk about this week? That looks like a no. So I guess that's it for this week. Next week we will be back for how to build a fire using non-toxic chemicals and real wood that you can find in the woods, and how to use an axe and that sort of thing. And we'll bring in someone who has respect for this program and what we're trying to do here. We're saving lives. That's the show. That's it. I'm sorry. I apologize again, but that's it. See you again next week.